But we are going to have a little bit of a delve into Nintendo Direct, and we've got Jinx's very own James to talk us through it. Hiya, James, how are you?
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. I like your hat. You're looking good. Looking nice and cozy
Thanks.
inside.
Super Bowl ready.
There you go. There you go. That's what we like to hear, James. That's what we like to hear. But Nintendo announced a load of games last night. Can you give us a little overview of what was announced and kind of was there any games you were excited to see get announced?
Uh, how long you got? There was,
It
there
was
was
a packed
quite a
one,
lot.
right?
Yeah. New trailer for Legend of Zelda: Tears of Kingdom, plus a
Yes.
release date. Pikmin 4 got a trailer. It's coming out in July. New Xenoblade 3 DLC. Splatoon 3 DLC. Fire Emblem Engage got an expansion announced. Advance Wars 1 and 2 reboot is finally coming out in April, having been in just, I don't know, wherever the hell it's been for the last few months. Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games are coming to Nintendo Switch Online. Metroid Prime Remastered is out now. I mean, that's not even touching the surface of how much was got announced. But yeah, that's kind of probably the main highlights, I
It's going to
guess.
be a great year. It's very excited. I mean, the Zelda in particular trailer, everyone was very much looking forward to that. What was your thoughts on the Zelda trailer? Because we are going to be showing that a little bit later on in the show as well.
I thought it looked really good, but I think the main thing that I thought was uh, interesting for me is just still how much we don't know about the game.
Yeah.
It's a 2 minute long trailer. I honestly can't remember the last time they released a trailer for that game, but obviously it's been in the works for sort of years and months now. But it was good to still see a few different tidbits of kind of what is kind of new about the game. But then there's
Yeah.
still so much obviously we don't know. With kind of, I don't know, 10 months ish to go before it comes out. So I think that's quite good. It's kind of it's done its job as a trailer. It's got everyone kind of even more excited to play it, but still don't really know enough until we maybe get our hands on it in December.
Definitely, and it's interesting because actually the Zelda game has actually been a little bit more expensive compared to the other games, which is quite interesting to what Nintendo kind of normally charges for its games. Do you think that might be a kind of an insight into what we're going to expect from the game itself?
I think just more broadly, AAA games are more expensive to make these days. They
Yeah.
they require more people to work on them. They're in some cases they're a lot longer than certain other titles. Like I think although it's and I'm not trying to justify price increases because I don't think that's kind of something anyone wants to see. But if you think of how much more expensive it is to maybe make these games now, and the line between which a game is successful and fails
Yeah.
is so thin. Like even I'm sure you would have probably covered this. Uh, I'm not sure if it was this week or the end of last week, but like Marvel's Midnight Suns was a fantastic game, critically acclaimed. Everyone loved it. It
Yeah.
sold not enough to kind of make Take Two kind of happy,
That's it.
and that's the fine line now. And one of the things that they have to do to kind of maybe ensure that some of these big releases warrant the amount of money that they put into developing them is to up the prices of the games. The only thing I would say as a kind of counter to it though is that for every expensive AAA game that there is now, there's
Yeah.
also just as many games out there which cost absolutely nothing. Like I've been playing Marvel Snap for months,
Yeah.
and it's cost me nothing. So
That's the thing. It's a
I think
trade-off.
there's a double-edged sword.
That's it. That's exactly it. Double-edged sword, if you pardon the pun, with Zelda as well. That's nice, isn't it? But retro games seems to be a little bit of something that kind of is weaving its way back into. I mean, retro games have always been back in the market, but they did tease a few Game Boy and Game Boy Advance titles within the Game Direct, which is interesting. Do you think there's still a space for these games?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think from a preservation standpoint as well, it's important that these classics still have some sort of presence on
Yeah.
modern systems. Like it's a shame when games just kind of completely vanish out the ether and you can't play them or it's impossible to play them. I think it's not ideal that a lot of these titles are kind of behind subscription paywalls in the case of, say, Nintendo and Sony.
Yeah.
It would be good if they were just there to be purchased in the same way that Xbox has with a lot of its back catalogue. But
Yeah.
I still think there's obviously room for these games, and I still think younger audiences should give them a try if they've not played them. Like especially, there's a lot of great Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games that they announced last night that are worth going back to.
Absolutely. I mean, I loved playing on the Game Boy. The Game Boy was so addictive. It was really good. We were actually talking the other day, but do you remember when you could like connect your Game Boy together so you could play multiplayer?
Yeah, Pokemon Blue and Red.
That's
Yeah.
it. That was it. That was revolutionary at the time. It was like you had to sit quite close together, but it's still connected, which was cool. But I mean, Nintendo seems to be going up as well. I mean, 10 games have actually reached over 15 million units sold. So the sales of these games are going up. Do you think Nintendo Switch is kind of becoming a bit more of a popular console than maybe it was at the start?
Yeah, obviously. I still don't think it's necessarily that easy for every game to kind of reach that sort of
No, definitely
10,
not.
15 million mark. Like you have to really be like a very special title to be able to kind
Definitely.
of reach that level. Like it again, everyone wants a new Metroid game. I think
Yeah.
Metroid Dread, when it came out a few years ago, when it did really, really well, I think it only sold like just shy of 3 million.
Oh
And
wow.
that shows you the difference between like a massive hit and something that's just sold well. And you look at Advance Wars again; they've not done an Advance Wars game in ages. You've got the 1 and 2 reboot coming out. I'm not sure Advance Wars has ever sold more than 1 million previously. So,
Wow.
but it's still a really loved franchise. So I think it really shows um, how amazing those like 10 games are that have reached that 15 million mark. I'd expect something like the new Zelda game to reach it because of
Yeah.
uh, how popular it is and just how well Breath of the Wild went down last time. But I think, yeah, I think there's obviously a very special place for those like really elite games, but it's not a bad thing if not every game reaches. I mean, it sounds weird because like at 15 million, I don't know if it's just because it's 15 and it's a small number, but it's still a massive deal. But I think there's still room for the games that don't reach that mark to still be kind of viewed as kind of amazing.
Definitely. I think that's it. Well, James, thank you so much for joining me on the show. It's been great to have you. And I'm sure everyone is just as pumped for Zelda. And we're going to give them a little trailer next. So you've hyped it up nicely for them. You've warmed them up, James. Thank you so much.
Lovely.
Cheers.
Cool.
Catch you soon.
Bye.
Have a nice day.